Hey, Daily Dosers, this is Connor, your outreach pastor, but today is not about outreach. It's about another hat I wear here at the church, and that is my therapist hat. And here's the thing I'm gonna do today that's super risky, is I'm gonna give you a piece of information, and if you were to do that well, you would not need a guy like me in your life. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm gonna give you some information at the risk of working myself out of a job. I'm not doing it, it's too risky. No, I'm not doing it. Okay, I'm gonna do it. You ready? I'm gonna make a contrast here between hearing and listening. And the thing is, most people hear, but most people don't take the time to listen. So hearing is when we may hear a noise outside, right? Like, oh, what was that? It's just something that kind of happens. Listening is something different. Listening is when we slow it down and we're intentional. We're trying to pick up on what is that? What's going on? There's strategy involved. Now, where do we see this play out? Totally plays out in relationships. And today I'm gonna use marriage, because if you're wondering what the thing you're fighting about all the time, it's this, is most people don't feel like their spouse is listening to them. I call it ping pong. You get into this fight because you don't feel like the other person's listening, right? So it starts, if you ever seen Olympic ping pong, they start by the net, two opponents going at it, one serves and the other person serves right back. And next thing you know, they're serving back and forth, and they end up right here and they're just going, and they've never been farther away. Because in those scenarios, in relationships, when we're just making statements, we're just jabbing each other, we're just bringing up evidence, or maybe we're bringing up something from the past. Oh, what about the time you did this? We've never been farther away. In fact, that's the majority of what fights are about in marriage. And the opposite is true too. When you take the time and start listening to someone, you start solving things, because that's the issue to begin with. So let's go to our text real quick, because I love in Proverbs, it gives us a great recipe for how to do this well. And it's problem, it's kind of like the bad technique result, good technique result, okay? So Proverbs 18:13. To answer before listening, that is folly and shame. The human spirit can endure in sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? To answer before listening, that is folly and shame. And isn't that how that goes? You ever just have a bad day, you're not really listening, and all of a sudden you get in this fight, and next thing you know, you just get into it and you wake up. The folly and shame piece, like you wake up, you start replaying, what did we say to each other the night before in our fight? Did I really say I hated her mom and I despise her cat? Did I really say that I hate this hobby, right? We just wake up, it's the folly and shame. But really, when we do that, we're not listening. We kind of get to this result. It says the human spirit can endure in sickness, but a crushed spirit, who can bear it? Most of us would say like, hey, I could get sick, or I could get a broken bone or something. But you know what the most painful thing is? When I feel like I'm not listened to in my marriage, that it doesn't matter to the other person. It's the most crushing thing. So what do we do about that? Well, I love this. In verse 15, it says, the heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. And here's the thing that's just so practical. With your boss, with your mom, with your wife, if you were to stop today and go, man, I just want to make it about you. I want to gain more and more information, more and more knowledge, and find out about you. And here's the thing, is that when we're doing this, do you realize this may be the first time this week or even this month that happened to that person? Someone actually was listening to them. It's huge. So take the time, listen. And when you're doing that, the next part happens. It says in verse 16, a gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. Man, what a powerful thing to think about. What we're really giving this person, what's a gift? I'm listening to you because you're worth it. And you know what? When I'm doing that, I've never been more Christ-like as when I make you more important than me. So today I want you to ask yourself, am I just hearing, am I just picking up on noise, or am I actually listening to someone? And I want you to just move towards that. Just watch what happens in your marriage and your family and your friendships, because it's going to change everything. Thanks a lot, Daily Dosers. We'll see you next time.
Hey, Daily Dosers, this week on The Dose, we are talking about community. And true biblical community where we have friends that are around us that keep us centered in God's word is so important to our relationship and our spiritual growth and health. And so that's why we have our small group signups this week. See, we call our small groups life groups here at North Coast, but whether you're at North Coast or whether you attend somewhere else, we want you to plug in to that church. Go get connected. If you're here at North Coast, we'd love to be able to help you find a group here because it's that community, it's those friendships rooted in God's word that there is so much power.